Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about Java programming. So first we will go through the basics. Then we will learn how to write a simple Java program. Once that is complete, then we are going to download the Eclipse in our computer and then just start writing the Java programs from that onwards. Okay. So let's talk about the Java first. What is programming? Whenever we say that we need to do a Java programming or C# programming or MATLAB programming or Python programming, a program is nothing but a set of instructions that has to be carried by a computer. A program execution is the act of carrying out the instructions contained in a program. So, in a programming language is just a systematic set of rules to describe the computations in a format that is editable by humans. So when I say a program is nothing but a set of instructions that is written in English language. Now, whenever you write the program, if you are writing it using a Java or C#, then you have to follow the syntax that is associated with that programming language. So if you are using Java, then Java has a set of rules for the syntax rules that you have to follow, so that whenever you write a program, it will be understood by the CPU. The CPU will perform the execution of your program and then give you the output through the output screen. So that's why it is very important for you to know the program syntax as well as the programming concepts and how to execute the program. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Layout. This is just the high level layout, right? How the languages were created, like when Java was introduced, when LISP was introduced. Java was introduced back in 1994 and C# was introduced back in 2002, right? Now all the languages are pretty much derived from C++. So Java was also derived from C++ as well as Smalltalk, and C# was derived from Java and C++. C++ was derived from COBOL, PLA, BCPL, then the B language and the C language, whereas this Java was mostly Fortran, Algol, Simula, Smalltalk, and then the Java. So right now we are still working with C# or Java programming language even today in 2017. After this, there are many other language came in. For example, if you want to do a programming for mobile apps, you can use the Android Visual Studio to do that programming. If you want to create the app in iPhone or for iPads, then you can use the Xcode, right? And the Swift programming language. So after 2004 or 5, most of the time we notice that we are slowly moving towards the mobile development. Even the mobile development languages are derived from Unix, from Java, as well as the entire operating system environment is based off of Unix. It is not at all different, right? Now, if you look at on this side, this LISP and common LISP, these are more like a declarative. When you go towards the object oriented like Java and C sharp, these two languages are more towards the object oriented. When I say object oriented, means all the functionality are packaged within the object, so that you can reuse all these objects over and over again, and it will reduce the number of lines of codes that you have to write. That's why it is beneficial for us to do the object-oriented programming. Now, in today's world, we have to produce the software quick enough. If we start writing each and everything in the software, for example, if you want to calculate the sum, right? If you want to calculate the addition, most of the programming language have a function about a sum. If you don't want to use it, that means you have to write your own function that acts similar to this sum function. That means it will increase your development time. What does that mean? Once your development time is increased, you are going to produce a software, but that's gonna be delayed because you are not reusing any components, any methods, right? So your software development, if it's gonna be finished in 3 months, it might take you 9 months to develop it. Another example, let's say you are working for a Equifax or for a company that gives you the credit score. Now, when you work for a company that produces a credit score, you wrote a method to calculate the credit score for a person. All right. Now, this same thing can be you have a different department in your company, like mortgage department, insurance department, your criminal check department. All these departments, they would need to perform a credit check or get the credit score. So if they start writing their own methods, right, to do the calculation of credit check, credit score, it will take long time, right, for them to develop it. Plus, just think about if government changes the rule tomorrow about how the calculation happens for a credit score, then you are in a also have to change it across all the department, right? Versus if you are just doing it, if only a one department is writing the method to calculate the credit score, and you share the same method with all other department, that means your software would be developed quicker. In case of change, you just have to modify it in one place and not to the other places. Object-oriented programming language program uses interacting objects, right? So Smalltalk was the first object-oriented programming language that was introduced in 1980. After that, C++ came in 1985. It was an object-oriented improvement to C language. It is still a very successful programming language. There are major operating systems such as Windows are built on using C language. Now, just think about it, even right now, in the defense industry, most of the fighter planes, fighter jets, most of the defense equipments are still being programmed using C++ programming language. The reason is because it is very reliable programming language even as compared to Java. Java is being used nowadays highly, but C++ is also pretty widely used even nowadays, right? Java was introduced in 1995. It was mostly designed for the applets, but now it's been used for web servers, for thick client application, for web services, for REST services, for web apps, for everything. Java, the beauty of Java is it can run on any platform, Windows, Mac, as well as Linux. It is a platform independent programming language. That means when I say a platform independent programming language, right, what does that tell you? A platform independent programming language is nothing but it allows you to run it in any programming language, in any environment, right? So that's the benefit of using Java. Okay. So Java runs on many platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux, cell phones, Android, all the platform it runs. It's a platform, so you can write the application into any environment, right? You can compile it and you can just execute the code into any other operating system. Whereas C Sharp used to be a platform dependent till 2014, I think, or 2013. Because so whatever code you write, it has to be on Windows only. But now even C Sharp and Microsoft are moving towards the open source way. That means you write it in one operating system and execute the code into the others, right? So that's why even C Sharp is going into a same direction. It's also pretty much platform independent. Okay. How do you write it? So normally you write the code or a source code. It is nothing but a set of instructions in a program. You compile it, that means you are translating a program from one to the other one. The Java usually compiles your code into a something like called as a bytecode that runs on many computer types. Once the bytecode is generated, you are going to execute it. So your CPU will understand the bytecode, you execute the program, and you get the output. Now, output is displayed onto the monitor screen. So whatever output is there, you're gonna see it onto the monitor screen. This is just a sample example like public class hello, public static void main, string args, system.out.println, hello world, system.out.println, semicolon. Now just remember the syntax for a basic Java program. Each Java program will have a main method. We will go through these arguments later, but for now just understand this is a main method. It will have a parenthesis open and close. Even the class will have parenthesis open and close. Each program should begin with the class name. So the public class name is hello. Each program should have a main method. So this is the main method for your Java program. You will have this statement system.out.println and then the brackets. Inside the brackets, if you want to print a string, you have to use the double quotes. If you want to use a numbers, then you don't need to put any quotes and you can just put the numbers over here, put the semicolon at the end, and bam, just print it. Then you have system.out.println and then this. After that, this program will print this program produces. That's what it will print it. Then you have system.out.println, 4 lines of output. So it will just say 4 lines over here. Now let's go ahead and try to run this program. Initially, after in the next slide, in the next lecture, we are going to download the Eclipse and then we are going to go over this program, right? But for now, there are a lot of online compilers that are available. So let's just go through one of the compiler. So there are a lot of compilers. So let's just go to online Java IDE. There you go. So as you can see, let's just remove this one. I'm also going to keep this one over here. Alright, so as you can see it, our program, this is my online Java compiler, right? It is available on this compiledjava.net. Now, we are not going to use this going forward. This is just the beginning. That's why we are using this. Otherwise, we are going to install this Eclipse. Okay, so like what you can do is if you go to Eclipse download, we are going to just go through the download section and download the Eclipse. This is what we are going to use going forward, right? So this is just the first lecture, so we are sticking with the online compiler. As you can see it, this has public class hello world. That means the public is a keyword, class, and then the class name. As this is a sample Java class, the class name is hello world. Each program will have a main method. So your Java program will always starts with execution from the main method. It will not start it from any other method. It will always look for, if you have returned, for example here, if you have returned this method public static void add. If you have returned this method here, then also it will only look for a main method. So it will just go ahead and start it from that only. Now, remember, for each class, you need to make sure you put the close parenthesis. So whenever you write program, it should be something like this. Also, Java is a case-sensitive programming language. So if you write class or this, it is different. So you have to make sure you follow proper syntax, right? So you have an open parenthesis and you have a close parenthesis. After that, you will type this main statement. Again, same thing, open and close, open and close, and just do it this way. And just do it this way. So now let's just remove this. So this program will print two statements. You can also do print ln, and it will print e-learning Java course program and a sample program. So let's just go ahead and run this. There you go. Now just see the output. This is the output for your Java program, a sample program, and e-learning Java program. If I modify something here, this is my first Java program, and just click on compile and run, then you will see this, right? This is my first Java program. So whatever you have, you are just printing it onto the screen. So that's why it shows up like this. Now, let's say I want to make some mistakes. So what are the things happening? If you compare this slide, you have written a code or a source code, a set of instructions in a program. So that is what you have done over here. What is the next thing? You have compiled it, right? So once you compile it and execute, it is generating the bytecode. That means your compiler is translating your Java program from English to the another language. Java compiler converts your English code into something like called as a bytecode. And then this bytecode will run on many operating systems. And then you just execute the program or run the program. So when you click this button, it's going to compile and run it over here. So that's why you see this two statements. This is the first program and this is the second program. Okay. Now let's say if I make some syntax form issues. So if I don't have this, I would need the close parenthesis over here as well as for this one. Now if I just compile it, let's see the error. Unable to execute, could not compile. The reason is this is the online compiler, so it is showing us the errors like this. But if you are using it in Eclipse, it will show you a proper error place that line number 10 has this particular error. So there are a couple of types of error types, such as a runtime error uh, or a logical error. So the runtime error or like logical errors are the most difficult type of errors. That means there is some issue with the logic of your program. If you compare this with your a syntax error are the most easiest thing to fix it in the program, right? Because you can easily identify where there is an issue. All the Java statements should end with the semicolon. Let's remove the semicolon and try to execute this program. So just compile and execute it. And as you can see the error as well, Java line number 7, this is expected, right? So if you put this keyword over here and click on compile and execute, it's gonna show you this error. This thing error will go away. That means you are using proper compile thing, right, to produce the output for your Java program. Now let's go ahead and write a sample program that should print at least 4 or 5 lines of code right on the screen. So let's just do that. So how I will do it is just do this first. I want to print numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I want to print, for example, the address. So I'm just going to put my address. So my address is this. Okay, this is just example fake address. Okay, this is what my address is, and I want to print this address onto the screen. So how would I do it? System.out.println, this is the number, so I'm gonna have number. Then this is a string character, so I'm going to have a string. Close the quotation, put the semicolon symbol, and just go to the next. Do the same thing, scroll down and just do it this way, 30045. So just do it this way. Just review this and just make sure it makes sense. Now there you go. One more point that is very important. I want to make sure if you are a user, then you should know what my program is doing. So that's why we have to write a comments into the Java program. So I'm going to put a comment, Chintan Thakkar. This is my first Java program to print my home address. Okay, so that means whoever is reading this program, they know exactly what this program is doing. Okay, just compile and execute it. There you go. It successfully compiled and produced this output. Just one more time to recap, right? What is happening? If you think about it right now, this program is getting converted to a bytecode, then you are executing a bytecode and producing this particular output, right? So that, and then this entire output, whatever is the bytecode that is generated by this program, you can take it from any computer, from Windows computer, you should be able to execute it in Windows as well, right? So that's how this Java's first program, we created hello world. You can change the class name to hello or e-learning class. Just compile and execute. There you go.